All right, so we are back. Apologize if you can hear the rain in the background. It is pouring today. It's been gloomy. We had our fake spring summer for a few days, and then the rain came, so that's cool. Updates. I'm finally done applying to as many jobs as possible. All in the like what I talked about in last video, so that's all done, and now I'm gonna try to build some habits in the gym and jits, kind of restructured my training as I always am, it seems like, but looking like 2 or 3 times a week for jiu-jitsu, and then 3 to 4 times of lifting. I'm gonna see how that all pans out, and I'm not really gonna set like any goal for my training. I'm just gonna focus on building the strength, keep myself explosive, and obviously keeping mobility up and whatnot. So, and then I don't know, I watched the Artemis 2 take off today. If you don't know what that is, it's the NASA sent up I think 4 astronauts to circle the moon, and they're going to the dark side of the moon, so they're going to take pictures and see what's going on over there. So that's pretty cool, and I guess it's a lead up to Artemis 3, 4, and 5, and then I think in 4 and 5 they're going to try to actually land on the moon. And the whole goal is to build some sort of space station or whatever on the moon. And I think they're going to use that as the first step to hopefully building something on Mars. So that's pretty sick. So I watched that, and then decided, watching these guys go up to space, that I should probably, do something with my life and go to the gym. So we are at the gym. We're gonna hit a back day, mostly, I think. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do some, not RDLs. I'm gonna do some rack pulls. I'll start with that, and then I'm gonna do pull-ups. I don't know if I'll do weighted pull-ups, but I'm gonna do some sort of pull-up variation, and then move into some sort of row, maybe a single arm row, or I might use the T-bar row. Haven't really clarified what I'm going to do yet. And then after that, I might do a carry. I don't know. It depends on where I'm at and how I'm feeling, because I want to hit some arms today, so arms and shoulders. So depending if I do the carry, then I'll move into some sort of curl and probably some sort of shoulder sequence, or shoulder sequence and some arms. We'll see what happens. Playing out today with a big movement, so a strength movement, the power, and then I'm going to follow into some just strength hypertrophy movements, and then the mobility ones. I'll probably do some regular dead hangs, maybe some leg raises, stuff like that, just a little bit of stuff to move the hips, stretch out the back, play with some ISO. Yeah. So what you'll see is you'll probably see, just the strength lifts, all that stuff. One of these days, I hope I'm either savvy enough with editing that I can remove background music. I feel like there's other people who film in gyms, they can do that, but I don't know how to do that. So as of right now, it looks kind of busy because it's around 5 o'clock right now. There's probably gonna be music in the gym blaring, so I can't talk to the camera. So probably just see me go through the progressions of that. I think with pull-ups, I'm gonna shoot for volume today. I said I didn't really I'm not gonna set goals for myself, but I would like to get a little bit bigger and stronger. So strength will always be a thing. I want to be strong and explosive. but I would like to put on some size. And that's been a little rocky with going from the bulk to getting ready for that show, or that competition. And then after the competition, I've had a hard time transitioning back into a complete like focus on my lifting or jitsu, whatever. I just, my training hasn't been dialed in. And it's really just because of everything I talked about in last video. I've been really trying to focus in on the next step in my career and where I'm going to go with that. So now it's time to hopefully revert back into some sort of like routine for my training in general as a whole, and really start seeing some actual progress. You know, if that's just me getting a little bit stronger and a little bit bigger, that'd be great. Or, I mean, if I just get stronger, that's great too. If my lifts start going up without any issues, that would be awesome. Like, as you've probably noticed, I've been really hesitant about overloading any hinge movements. So like, I've been hesitant about overloading my just even the rack pulls, freaking bent overs, deadlifts, really anything that involves heavy use of my lower back. It's been fine. I've had no real issues since I have recovered and everything from that thing. I did that competition. I'm still doing jiu-jitsu and I'm still lifting. So I believe I'm okay, and I am progressively like dialing up the weights. I mean, I did those Zerchers the other day, and I had no issues after that. And I implemented the Zercher deadlift with the Zercher squat. So, and as always, if you don't do Zerchers, you should do some sort of variation of Zerchers. I can't recommend enough. I just think they're kind of a power movement where you're front loaded and then you have to move the weight. Obviously, the crux of your arms is a constraint you have to kind of get over. Not like just load up the bar and, you know, say whatever to the pain. But you should kind of push it a little bit, it should be a little painful, just because the more often you do it, it's going to go away. It's not going to be bad. Like holding, like when I had that 225 for those squats, it wasn't terrible. I could feel it a little bit, but it wasn't terrible. That's because, you know, I work up, I do Zerchers, so you can get heavier with them. You just need to take time. It sucks. So if you are building up, and I know that that's the limiting factor opposed to your legs, you probably can squat more than you can put in the crux of your arms right off the bat. So a couple options is to just increase volume. So just do a ton of reps with the Zerchers for a bit. Or you can do, you know, a few sets of volume with the Zerchers to keep working that crux until it's able to take the pain. Hopefully you didn't hear that. Hopefully I didn't hit the mic or whatever. My mic's not even on, or at least the light's not on, but I can see it going on, so whatever. The other option is to do a few sets with that to get it all ready, and then just transfer over to a front squat or a back squat to do actual weight, if you still want to push some actual weight on there. So yeah, anyway, that's a tangent for legs and Zerchers and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's gonna be the plan today. So we will get to that, and I did want to push the bent over row. I've had some people talk to me about it. When you're doing the bent over row, if you don't have to be parallel with the ground. If you feel better being a little more upright, that's okay, and you can have more bend in your knees. You don't have to be like basically like RDL style. You don't have to have a shallow bend in those knees and then parallel with the ground trying to rep the the bar or the dumbbells. You can be a little more squatted down, push your hips back, and then you can be at more of an angle than parallel to the ground. You don't have to do that. I mean, it's good because you're fighting gravity the whole time with the weight. That's great. But some people feel better when they have more of an angle. As long as it's going down, you're getting some you're going down away from your torso. It's not like down your body kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like not like an upright row. You should be enough to where it's falling like, I don't even know how to explain that. I'm butchering this right now. Anyway, you know what I mean. So you're coming down that angle here. There's the bar. You can be upright, but you don't want to be too upright to where it's like going this way up your body. You want it to still be going away from your body. There you go, away from your body in some point, because you want it to stretch out that lat. You want to stretch out that whole mid part of your back. That's the whole point of it. So the lats and that mid part should be stretching. You can argue that being a strict barbell row or whatever, you shouldn't let your shoulders come forward too much, and you shouldn't come up too much of an angle. But honestly, you can play with that, because I really feel like if you want the full range with a bent over row, just a bent over row in general, letting yourself kind of come down with it to stretch out your back, and coming up to squeeze those shoulder blades, bring open up your chest so everything in the back squeezes as you pull that in. That's totally fine. You don't want to overdo it, and I sometimes overdo it, but you can play with that kind of like up and down movement to get the full effect of the stretch and the squeeze. Like, don't feel like you have to sit right here and you can only move in this plane. That is a strict barbell row, and that's great to do too. And if you practice that, that's totally fine. And if that's your thing, great. But it's okay to have a little sway. I like a little sway because I feel like I can really, maybe there's a little momentum, but I feel like I get more stretch and then more squeeze at the top. So maybe even the midsection has a little momentum, but it's not giving me more momentum for my squeeze and my stretch. Who cares? It's, lengthening and shortening. So quick rant on rows. I've literally talked to two of my buddies about it, so I figure I'd throw that up here in case you were wondering about, rows, bent over rows. Because I do tell people to do bent over rows to build their back and stuff. I know some people have issues. Remember, you can do different angles. You can always do dumbbells. You can do the barbell with a different width. You can do underhand. You can do always do like a T-bar row, which is technically a bent over row. You can play around with it, and you can figure out where you stand to build the rows. Because the great thing about, I'll make this quick. The great thing about bent over rows is that you can overload it, and then you get this massive stretch and this massive squeeze. Like I personally believe that the whole part of the movement is important. I'm not just like a science bro where I'm like everything's about the stretch. It's important, yes, but it's just as important to squeeze. So squeeze at the top, have a good control, and get a stretch. I believe wholeheartedly every part of a movement matters. That's why you can play in partials. You don't have to always be in the stretch. You can play in a partial in the contraction part. It's okay to do that because it's just these different, it really comes down to different methods. If you're talking about someone that's just strictly trying to build some muscle, it's probably great to do full range of motion at all times. Don't quote me on that, but if you have different, if you're trying to isolate different joints or different muscles and stuff, sometimes partials are a good idea, and it's okay to do. So with that, I will end it before I go on to another rant. So you're probably gonna see me come into the rack pulls that I will be doing, and I'm not gonna lie, don't quote me on everything that I listed earlier because it might change. But as of right now, rack pulls, deadlift or pull-ups, some sort of row, and then probably some hanging like ab thing. All right. Okay, so finished up the back day. Figured I'd just run over it really quick before we head home for some food. All right, as you saw, it did change a little bit. So I didn't do rack pulls, I did deadlifts instead. Also got the 315, literally no issues. I did stay relatively low with the reps though. I did sixes and fours. So nothing too crazy. I didn't like try to pump it out. I don't think I got the shots in, but I warmed up with the bar and then 25s on each side and then 45s on each side. And I did reps of 8 for those workup sets. So it wasn't too bad. And I felt really good going through them. Some of the body positioning is kind of like what I had to work on, just as far as not lifting heavy in the deadlift for a while. So it kind of, you have to adjust. You got to figure out where your stance is again and all that stuff. And I was kind of playing around, as you probably saw in sometimes I like to roll the weight out and sit into basically the squat and then bring it into me and help me set my deadlift. I don't know if you do that, but I find that stretch and that sit-in and that pull tight and bring the hips up, it seems to kind of pull me into the correct form, if you will. So who knows, but really good workout. I felt great the whole freaking time. It started getting really busy, so I was kind of trying to push through, and hopefully you can hear me all right. I got this mic is going crazy. Anyway, I keep having issues with this mic. Where was I? Oh yeah, so great workout. I did do the pull-ups. I didn't do weighted, but I superset it with some upright rows with the bar just to get some more shoulder stuff, because it took me a while with the deadlifts. I worked up for a bit and I was giving myself enough rest to where I felt like I could really pull without any issues. So that took a while, so I didn't want to stay there too long, especially because it was getting so packed. Did the pull-ups, just body weight, did sets of 8. You'll probably only see a couple clips. 4 sets. I can't remember how many sets I did with the deadlifts. I have this big thing where I work up. So I work up to whatever that weight is at my top sets, and then I choose how many working sets I want to do with the weight itself. This is typically for main lifts. This is what I do, and I did 3 total sets with 315. I didn't want to push it, like I said, so I did work up all the way to 315 with that, and I was going increments from the 135. I was going increments of 25s on each side, and then so it was a 45, 25, 25, and then a 25, and then I believe a 15, and that all brings to 315. I really hope I did my math right. I'm not going to double check now, so if you want to double check, go ahead, but I believe that was 315. Anyway, did those, and then moved into, I did do some of the single arm rows. I got a couple shots of it. I'm big on trying not to get people in my shots, or at least their face forward and stuff. I really do try. It does happen, but I try to be courteous. So sometimes the camera angles and the weird spots that I choose is really just because there's somebody working there, and I am trying to be as considerate as possible. Because, not everyone wants to be in videos. Heck, half the time I don't want to be in a video. So, yeah, anyway. So I got a couple shots of that superset where I did the single arm rows and then the little shoulder sequence. I like that shoulder sequence. The second shot that you're going to see here, I didn't do behind the back ones like I did the first time because there was a lady behind me and I was trying to make room. Anyway, I really like that one in that shoulder sequence. I like all of them. I like the side laterals, I like the front. But I like the one where you you're putting your hands behind you, right? And your palms are facing in towards your glutes, and you want to be as far in as possible, and then you just shoot sideways out, and then you'll feel it. It stretches and pulls and like whatever on that, mainly that front delt, but a little bit into the side. I like them a lot, so I do those. Doesn't take much to fatigue. And then then I went into the seated barbell curls. I use the easy bar, but what you do is you sit on a flat bench, and then you kind of walk your feet out, put them next to each other, and you want the bar right before like your knee area, like your kneecap and all that stuff. You want to sit like resting right across that part, and you want to be tall torso, slightly lean back, so your arms are kind of stretched out, like if they were if you were in a preacher curl, like kind of that position. And all you're doing is you're trying to keep your elbows and your elbows where they're at and your torso where they're at, and you're curling to your face and then you're fighting on the way down. It freaking sucks. And I think because there's no momentum from the swing from like if you're standing or whatever, but that you can pause in your legs, you can stop right before, but that hits your biceps really nice. I've been doing them for a long time. Do that, and then I always pair it with like a full ROM movement, which I just did some seated dumbbell curls with it, and then finished up with some hanging leg raises and ab stuff that I didn't film it. It was quick. I did a few sets to for the abs, and then I did a couple like rotation things to open up the hips and help stretch out the lower back and stuff. So nothing crazy. So anyway, I'm gonna go eat.